How's everybody doing today? First of all, I want to thank everybody sincerely for inviting me back this year. I speak at a lot of functions, you know. In the last few years, more than ever, I've traveled a lot and I speak at a lot of conventions. And I mean this sincerely, this is my favorite convention. Because, and the reason I want you to know this, it's all the warmth that y'all give me and the love, and everybody's just so kind, and everybody's just, it seems like y'all are just one big happy family. And at a lot of the conventions I speak, you know, there's a lot of, you know, competition with other lawyers, and it's, you know, it's just all business. But this is you know, a day that I can come and just greet people and meet people, and y'all have just shown me a lot of love, and I really, really appreciate it. Today, if y'all haven't seen us, you know, we're downstairs. And after this, we're going to go back downstairs. So if you want to come by and you want to talk to us, take a picture, grab some Alexander Shunnarah swag. We made, I think, 1,000 bags, and we still have about 500. So please come and get them, because I know my team does not want to load them back up and take them back. So I started thinking today, you know, what could I talk to y'all about? You know, last year was, you know, my first time here, and it was a little different. So, you know, it's going to be, you know, maybe a 15 or 20 minute speech, and then I thought we could, you know, everybody here may want to. I hope everybody here asks me a question or something. We'll open it up to some questions and answers, and then that's kind of the funnest part, really, of most of the times I get to speak in front of people. And my understanding is you guys are going to just line up here, and I'll take my time and I'll answer every question I can. For the people who weren't here last year, and forgive me if you've heard this, you know, I was born and raised in Birmingham, so I am what you consider, I'm 50 years old, I am considered a Birminghamian, I guess is what they call me. And I love the great state of Alabama, and I know some people are not from Alabama, but I truly think it is one of the best states ever. A lot of people ask me, you know, Shunnarah, what type of last name is that? And my parents were born in Jerusalem, but I was born and raised here. I do speak a different language also. I speak fluent Arabic. But my friends remind me since I was born here that I am as southern as a bass boat. They remind me of that every day. So, and I'm proud to be that. So I started thinking, you know, when I was growing up, you know, and last year you asked me about, you know, because anime is new to me, and you guys asked me, so I learned that, and I'm gonna pronunciate it as Kamicon. Is that correct? No. Kamicon? Kamicon. See, I was close. And so, Kami is a Japanese god, is that correct?
Well, it's sort of Japanese for God.
Okay, it's Japanese for God. Okay. Well, when I was growing up, you know, we didn't have, when I was a kid, what I'm saying is there was no anime. And I don't really know what is the genesis of anime? When did it start, really? When did it start taking off?
In the 60s. In the 90s.
I know there's some people here that know the history.
In the 90s. In the 90s.
When did it get real popular? 90s. Okay. Well, I was in college in the early 90s. But I do want y'all to know that and there's a purpose of what I'm trying to say for today's speech. You know, when I grew up, you know, Marvel was more around, and so we always had all these superheroes like Batman and Spider-Man and Superman and Aquaman and every other superhero that you could probably consider. And then, you know, you always had the villains too. And so I see the correlation as I've started to learn about anime, because when people were coming up this year and before that, I looked up some stuff last year after the convention. So I like a guy by the name of One Punch. And I'm being very honest. I've started reading some of his stuff, and it's funny how he's just this melancholy guy that, you know, he can't get any competition because he just knocks out everybody with one punch. But it's really awesome. But growing up, you know, you also had like your villains, like the Joker and Lex Luthor and the Riddler and the Penguin and Brainiac and Red Skull. But I tied all that in to say that, and you guys, like I said, have shown me a lot of love. You know, I couldn't be a superhero growing up. So I wanted to be a superhero growing up, just like every healthy kid growing up. But I ended up figuring out that I didn't have those type of powers. And so I went into, obviously, the law business. And so even though you guys are kind and some people say that I'm a myth or I'm a legend or I'm a superhero or I'm a meme, thank you. But I do advocate, and I want y'all to know that when I'm not doing stuff like this on a daily basis, that's what I'm doing. I'm advocating for the people of Alabama. And, you know, we've expanded, but Alabama's, you know, headquarters at home, and it's still probably 75 or 80% of our business. But on a daily basis, I have about 85 lawyers and about 300 staff members, and people call us with real problems, and we advocate on their behalf, and we fight as hard as we can. Please forgive me if somebody here works in the insurance business, but the insurance business is, to us in corporate America and big business, is kind of like the villain. And the villain's job is to take advantage of the small man. And so we, with our own superhero skills, our ability to advocate, our ability to solve problems, our abilities to come up with legal theories, we try to hold them accountable always. And we try to get words that you're familiar with, like justice and compensation, and to try to make sure that the playing field is always level. And so it's just like a Marvel comic, or it's just like maybe a situation in anime where you've always got the villain on one side and you've kind of got the superhero on the other side. And the goal is always to try to get fair compensation, or making someone, or just getting justice, or just doing the right thing. Hang on. The thing about superheroes that I always, and I took some notes, the thing about the superheroes of the world that I saw is the one thing I recognized as a kid and as growing up, and actually in my day-to-day, I've been a lawyer 21 years, is all the superheroes always had great character, great resolve. They were always, they had integrity. These are some of the things that they were caring. They cared about the small man. They cared about doing the right thing. And then if you ever noticed that in the villain situation, which, you know, Hollywood is, you know, always portrayed a lot of villains, you know, you've got the villain as being lack of character, lack of integrity, always trying to find an angle or find an edge, or just trying to do whatever is possible to get some kind of an advantage on someone and basically take advantage of people. But the most important thing that I'm trying to portray today is that you guys come here and you're dressed up and by the way, your costumes are absolutely incredible. And I know you guys have spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort to play the character that, you know, that maybe you admire, or the character or the person that you chose to be this weekend. But I think the important thing, it is so symbolic in anime or Marvel or in life, what I do on a daily basis is that you're always going to have the good guy on one side, the bad guy on the other side, the superhero on one side, the villain on the other side. But here's what I want everyone here to know. Even though you're hearing character this weekend, every single person in this room has been given a certain gifts. And God has put gifts in every one of y'all. And I don't know, sometimes I think people don't realize how powerful they are and what kind of gifts they have inside of them. So my challenge to y'all is not just like this weekend when you're having fun and you're in character, but when you leave here and you go home or you go back to your regular jobs or you go back to school, that you will always recognize, and that Alexander Shunnarah reminded you that you are a hero. And every single person here is a superhero and has supernatural abilities. And even though, like I said, in the characters, the superhero saves somebody or defeats the villain, there are so many people just in your life, in school with you, at your job, at your workplace, that always need you to step up. And so I want you to be in a mindset and a mind frame that you can make a difference, and that you will make a difference. It could be as simple as, and we all know this, I mean, we're doing some of this litigation, we're in the worst opioid epidemic in the history of the United States. And my law firm is one of the law firms that's looking into that and representing some counties and cities. So just imagine if there's one person or one friend that you have that may be struggling with some kind of an addiction. You, by stepping up, that is better than any superhero that ever could be, because you're the one who helped that person. You're the one who maybe took the necessary steps to save that person's life. And it's just not that. I mean, it's not just, it doesn't have to be serious as an addiction. It could be, there are a lot of kids in this world that, their parents are not there for them. And, maybe you're in a position, you're 20 years old, so you take a 10-year-old under your wings and you make that person and you show them love. And just like kind of the big brothers, big sisters type situation. And you will impact that person's life, and you give them hope, you give them a chance. And it's not always financial, People put a lot of, there's charities everywhere, and we know that. And charities, I mean, as you can imagine, when you decide to put up 2,500 billboards, I think we're up to 3,000 in 5 states. We get, and I'm serious, 10, 15, 20 calls a day asking for money. And, we obviously help a lot of people, and we always will, but we have to try to pick and choose who we can help and how much we can help out. So it's not always financial, and that's what people will think. So my point is that just a kind word, time, caring about someone, calling someone, reaching out to someone. I mean, you guys have mastered social media. And you guys can do it blindfolded or while you're making a smoothie. I mean, it's just amazing how fast you can do stuff like that. But it is so powerful that as much as good can be done on social media, I mean, I know bad can be done, but that's a way you can reach people and constantly send out a good message with good hope and trying to help someone. The most important thing, I think, is I also want to encourage everyone here to try to recognize, and I know you said, why is Alex talking to me about this? But, I thought about it when I was coming back, and I said, I'm going back to anime, and, you've always got, heroes and villains, and I know that's not the only scenario. And then I'm a lawyer. You guys have shown me a lot of love. I'm kind of a superhero in one way because I'm representing the injured people of Alabama, and I speak up on their behalf. But, you don't want to hear about marketing today. If you want to, you can ask me anything you want about marketing. So I was trying to tie it in that is to let you know that the most important thing is that for you guys to know how powerful you are and what a voice you have. And I'm going to tell y'all, as a collective group, this, I'm going to say it right, Comic-Con, you guys collectively together could send out incredible messages that would just reach so many people, and they would always be positive messages. And I do want to encourage you that when you see injustice, always speak out. When you see things are wrong, always speak out. And the problem is, people see injustices a lot, and they're like, I don't have time to deal with that. But if you don't speak out and you don't stand up, then people will continue to be taken advantage of in this world. Any feedback? All right, in terms of just a little bit, like I said, we're now in 19 cities. So if you go to Nashville or even Miami, you'll see some billboards, and you may even see some television commercials. I'm never leaving Birmingham. I'm always going to be here. Last year my family was here, but they're not here. They're at a cheer squad type thing in Indianapolis. So I loved y'all so much that I drove to Indy yesterday and then turned around and drove back. So I was on the road for about 14 or 15 hours, and I got sick of seeing my face too. I saw a lot of billboards all the way up and down. All right. Well, why don't we open it up for some Q&A?
If you were a superhero, what would your power be?
Y'all can't tell, but I go to the gym every day when I can. So it'd have to do something, that it probably would have to do something with strength, like one punch or somebody, I got in trouble last year because I said something about another lawyer in particular, but y'all didn't know about that. Yeah, I just, it'd have to, so from my law firm, we feel that we are one of the stronger firms, and so maybe, it'd have to do with strength, definitely strength.
And two, if you play Mario Kart, who do you default play as?
When I play who?
When you play Mario Kart.
Mario?
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. So I hit Luigi?
What sort of fiction or what kind of stories did you grow up?
Are you talking like from games or from?
Like what was in your childhood?
You guys are going to laugh. Listen, I used to read the Britannica encyclopedias like the real books. My dad was, and I love my dad, he's still with me. His name is Fast Freddy. And he's 80 years old, and he was going to come today, but he was feeling a little bit under the weather, but he's healthy. But, man, I'm just going to be honest with you. So growing up, we, the internet wasn't invented until, about 1985 or something? So and computers didn't show up. The first Microsoft computer was when I was about 16 years old, and it was this big. So we didn't have computers in high school. We finally got them when I got to college at Samford. Some of the games we grew up with, I know there sounds like Frogger. Of course, Donkey Kong. That's my cousin Sam right there. Raise your hand, Sam. Sam works for us. Him and I, we would ride our bikes always to a convenience store, and the big thing was pinball. But I think it was good that I didn't have all this technology growing up, because once again, if you are an inquisitive person here, if you're inquisitive and you have a mind to learn and you want to learn, then it's at your fingertips and you can go as far as you want. So society is smarter. However, if you use it to just play, please forgive me, dumb video games all day, and if you use it to just watch YouTube every day, or just to play on Facebook every day, and you spend 10 minutes in your homework, then I think it can hurt you. So I just think it's a huge responsibility for everyone to just be careful and make a decision. I mean, we could, we have 300 employees, and it's the same thing with them. We love them, but they're on every employer I've ever talked to. I mean, everybody says, well, I'm using my phone to look up something for a case, that's not true. They're looking on Facebook, or something, which I understand. But I don't know if I answered your question, but that's the kind of stuff. We rode bikes.
Yeah.
We played in the creek.
Yeah.
We played sports. We had BB gun fights. I got shot like 20 times with a BB gun. I got shot with a pellet gun once. I had to go to the hospital and get the pellet taken out of my butt. About 3 or 4 years ago, I can't remember, time flies, I felt that the firm was starting to position itself into where we needed I do the marketing. I mean, I just want y'all to go ahead and know that. I'm the marketing guy, okay? So when it comes to the billboards and the television and the radio, most of that, but that was fine. But we needed a public relations team. And so once again, I'm giving a shout out to Krista. She owns KC Projects because her name is Krista Conlon. It's real original, KC. So she put a lot of thought in that. But it's no different than Alexander Shunnarah, so. But I told her when I met her, because she represents real companies, so. I said, she never represents, being a public relations coordinator for a personal injury lawyer, I knew it was going to be very challenging, but the thing I loved about Krista is she was all about this new venture and trying to figure it out, and we have just had this great marriage for like 3 years, and it's always constantly changing and evolving. So, and it's been incredible. It just keeps snowballing, and we're looking forward to seeing what's down the road, but we do love being a meme, and we love the attention, and I'll be honest with you, it's good for our business. It's good for our business. The whole thing about marketing, if you think about it, is just you're trying to put your name out there, and in the end, we still are just a law firm that offers legal services. But the fact that we have been humanized, and things like this, coming to things like this, people get to know you, people like you. And when people know you and people like you and people trust you, people will do business with you than just picking up some random phone. So if I find out you're in an accident and you don't call me, then I have failed in my job to connect with you today.
Hey, just have a curious question here. Have you ever handled a case or heard of a case that involved the bartering or wagering of someone's soul? Just out of curiosity.
No, but it's interesting. I mean, I would like to be an advocate for saving his soul. But so are you saying that is an actual, is that somewhere in anime, or is that something, it sounds like a great college paper or something.
It's in the dice game. He bets his own soul.
Oh, so he bets his own soul in the dice game?
Can that be recognized as something that can be legally wagered?
Yeah, I would think that's a legal wager. I don't know anything more important than your soul. It's pretty interesting. It'd be a good topic for a bunch of students at Harvard, I can tell you that.
Very cool. I gotta go get some more souls though.
Okay, buddy.
Hello.
Hi.
I'd just like to point out that I'm a big fan of your social media posts and all that.
Thank you.
Love your stuff, love your memes. It's great.
Thank you.
Not saying, or I'm not hoping this happens anytime soon, but when the day inevitably comes when you pass away, Do you think that you'll get your grave to be modeled to look like one of your billboards?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm being honest. I try to not think about when that day is coming, but I am in touch with mortality, and I know that it's inevitable that every person in this room, including you, will one day have to leave this earth. But that would be something. What, how about it, maybe if I put, how you wrap your car, maybe I could wrap my headstone with an Alexander Shunnarah Bible. And then it would kind of stand out. Like there's a book I read one time. My first book I ever read in marketing was called, by Seth Godwin. It's called The Purple Cow. And that would kind of be like it when you walked in that huge cemetery. You can see Alex way over there from a quarter mile. I like that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Your Pokemon was holding this egg. Do you want to keep it?
Yeah, sure.
Baby hatched from the egg. Do you want to give it a nickname?
AJ. Thank you. I really liked your acting skills. That was awesome.
When you started your career, did you ever imagine this would happen, that you'd be here today?
No. Listen, that's what I was trying to tell y'all earlier. And I won't talk, but 10 seconds, I promise. Look, every single person in this room is full of gifts, including you. And if you will just, there's no magic potion. If you will just get up every day, have some very good morals and principles, make good decisions, then it is endless where you can go in life. And so the last thing I thought in college or even in law school, or even when I graduated, even when I opened my own law firm 16 years ago, that my law firm would evolve into this. So just remember that lesson. It's just, Steve Jobs, I recommend y'all watch it, the former Apple CEO and founder, gave a commencement speech to a bunch of Stanford students once. And it's only about a 12-minute speech. I recommend everybody watch it. In his second part of the speech, he talked about connecting the dots and how the dots will lead you. And even though you don't know where the dots will end up, you just have to trust the process. So continue to trust the process, but you have to continue moving forward.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Take a picture of yourself?
Yes.